You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
Okay, so true story, I was scared to try tampons because I didn't know if they'd be able to protect like pads. Took me a few tries, but once inserted properly, tampons shouldn't hurt. If you feel it, it's not in far enough. Believe me, it changed my life. Like pads, tampons offer up to 100% leak-free protection, whether you're on the go or chilling at home. Now, I do and wear whatever I want on my period, thanks to the freedom and flexibility I get with adding Tampax to my routine. Learn more at Tampax.com.
Man, that went quick, fellas. Holy cow. All right. Let's jump into some of the numbers. And I went ahead and pulled them. I think they're all updated. Every team is in the database here. So I just did screen grabs to make it a little easier. Let's go through team statistics and where we rank across the league, okay? First of all, let's start with offense. You guys can see that okay, right?
Yes.
All right. So this is NFL teams' points per play. I didn't do points per game. I did points per play. It's exactly what it sounds like. How many points do you score per offensive play ran, okay? Green Bay comes in number 8 at .50, okay? So right now, in points per play, Green Bay is a legit top 10 offense. They're 8th. They're behind New Orleans, number 1, Indianapolis, number 2, Tampa Bay, number 3, Buffalo, number 4, Dallas, 5, Minnesota, 6, Kansas City, 7, then Green Bay at 8. Philly comes in the number 10 spot. Does that surprise you guys, or do you guys feel like I came away from that game really impressed with the offense personally? And it's always amazing how after the game you can talk with people. We do our post-game show. I chat with people on Twitter, and we can have two totally different opinions. But I came away going, the offense played pretty well. The defense was what struggled, is kind of how it felt to me. What do you guys think about this points per play across the league? Again, just one game, but do you feel like that's kind of how Green Bay played, like a top 10 offense?
Go ahead, Emilio. I think so. It was all looking rough, kind of at first. I think they were trying to, hammer it out, get some of that taken care of. But, Jordan played well. He obviously was rusty on some throws. I wasn't mad at the way Josh Jacobs was running the ball. Offensive line was pretty decent. Happy with Jordan Morgan. I think that we were definitely top 15. It's cool that we're top 8, but I'll take it.
Yeah, and again, that was offense points per play. What about you, Tim? Does that catch you off guard or no?
Yeah, I mean, it's depressing as hell to see the Vikings higher up on the list than we are, for crying out loud. But
they played the Giants, though, right? Am I thinking?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Speaking of teams without a quarterback, wow. But no, I think Emilio's right, man. I think I don't have a beef with, we talked about this last night. I don't have a beef with Josh Jacobs' performance at all. I think the line was a little slow to get going. I think offensively, we seemed a little bit out of rhythm. I don't know. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch. I don't know if I want to say fully out of rhythm, but it looked like they were still ironing out some kinks there early. And I don't think, Matt LaFleur was super deep in his call sheet like he wanted to be. He seemed to kind of not really have a rhythm with his play calls early in the game. And then we started to kind of hit our stride there, halfway through the second quarter a little bit. But I think we'll see improvement. Offense is definitely our team's strong suit. Our defense is the work in progress here with a new DC and new mindset. But, I'm not concerned by seeing this list. And, like Emilio said, hey, we're top 10. That's a good place to be, even though we took the L in week 1. We'll just keep building on this. And, like you said, Clayton, we got week 1 tape now, and nobody's watching it more than the Packer players themselves. So I'm sure they see it too. They know where to start improving.
Yeah. And what Emilio said too, and we're going to get to the rushing yards here in a second, or the rushing numbers statistically. Josh Jacobs averaged 5.3 yards a carry.
Yep. Like, make you mad at that.
What else can you ask for? Like, you got to have realistic expectations, right? So let's go to offensive yards per play. Some people are, okay, that's points per play. Let's go to yards per play. Look at this, boys. Number 1 in the league at 7.1 yards per play. They're tied with Kansas City with that number. Third is Indianapolis. All right. who we playing this week. So just keep in mind. Now, listen, they made mistakes. I think Richardson threw at least one pick, and obviously their defense kind of crapped the bed early. There, some of these points were kind of make-up points towards the end, but Indy in third at 7.0. Fourth is Tampa Bay at 6.4. Fifth is Miami at 6.2. Then Minnesota at 6.1. So you take that and offensive points per play, and you couple those together, and it gives you a good idea of, okay, now if you were to take those two numbers and grade out the rankings there, obviously the Packers coming in, eighth in points per play, and then first in yards per play, borderline top 5 offense, right? I think it's, pretty realistic. So what do you guys think about offensive yards per play there?
Give me more of them. Let's be number one next week as well.
A lot of explosive plays, right? That's the reason that number's so high, and that's what you're looking for, those explosives. So
absolutely. And to see the Colts up there, number 3, they can clearly move the ball. I think that's a testament to what we need to see from our team defensively on Sunday. If that defense goes out and has themselves a hell of a game, I don't see how we lose. I really don't. I think if you don't give up 30 plus points to the Colts, I think I have faith that Malik Willis can manage this game and we can put points on the board and get out of there with a win. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean that 7.1 average, that's the same as the completed air yards that Jordan Love had. He was at a 7.1 average. The only people above him was Brock Purdy at 8.6 yards, Bryce Young at 8.8, Trevor Lawrence at 10.7 yards, and Anthony Richardson at 17.3 with 19 attempts. I think he only completed the ball 9 times, but he threw like 3 50-yard bombs. So, a vertical passing game coming at us, but I think that Jordan Love can compete because my man was 7.1 average with 34 attempts, right? So we can't forget that he was still chucking the ball around. I think Matt, will definitely lean on the run a little bit more this game. But even if Jordan Love does play, I think Matt could, concoct a game plan where he's in the pistol 80% of the time, where he's still standing up. We can give Josh Jacobs, an odd even take at the line. You can go left or right, and we could still run that play action game, kind of like how, Matthew Stafford was working it last night with the Rams. We could still run the play action game coming downhill without having Jordan Love sit underneath the center, with his knee having a backpedal and just kind of fluctuate between shotgun pistol.
Yeah, definitely. And again, I'm going to try to stay away from the game planning because we've got plenty of time this week to do that. But on the surface, I bet you guys can't guess how I hope they play defense. I hope they're showing too high shell. Make sure you meet your run fits and play a lot of zone. Keep your eyes on Anthony Richardson.
That rookie quarterback can throw the ball, man.
Yeah.
He's got an arm.
Make them play underneath. Make him play, because the thing he struggles with, because he's a bulky guy, he's very muscular. He struggles layering those passes in. He struggles with the touch throws. Right. Make him play left-handed. If you come out and you're playing cover one man and you're giving him deep shots, he's got a freaking cannon. And if you're playing cover one man, guess what's going to happen? All but maybe 2 defenders are going to have their back to the quarterback in coverage, and he is going to run all over you. You're going to have flashbacks of Colin Kaepernick, I promise you.
Got to make him uncomfortable.
Got to. So let's go on to offensive rushing yards per attempt. Looky here, boys. Green Bay, and it ain't even close, 7.8 yards per rushing attempt. Leading the way, the entire NFL. Second is the LA Chargers at 6.5. Then third is Baltimore, 5.8. Tennessee, 5.4. Houston, 5.3. Detroit, 5.3. Arizona, 5.0. Indianapolis is in the 12th spot at 4.7, actually tied for 11th. Emilio, the running game was cooking against Philly.
That's pretty shocking looking at that number, because I know what the Chargers want to do with Harbaugh there, and that's run the ball. I mean, I think they gave the dude like 35 attempts or 40, something like that. They ran the ball like crazy. So we are above the teams that their MO is run the ball. We're above Chargers, above Baltimore. Detroit talks about running the ball. I like that. I think Matt's going to see that, obviously his own numbers, but just kind of see that we do have that in the team. We can run the ball. We don't have to put it on Jordan's shoulders. I know I want to. We want to be able to do that, but got to be give and take always.
Yeah, and with this 7.8, there's some people that are going, yeah, but Jaden Reed had that 33-yarder. Right.
Yeah.
Remember what I said about Josh Jacobs? Josh Jacobs alone averaged 5.3 yards a carry. Remove Emmanuel Wilson and his 4 carries for 7,000 yards, whatever it was. Remove Jaden Reed, and you just put Josh Jacobs' yards per attempt in here. We're still tied for 5th in the league.
Right. Yeah. I mean, remember Xavier Worthy did that with the Chiefs. Where are they on this list?
Bingo.
Yeah,
Bingo.
exactly. Great point.
Yeah. So the running game, man, seems to be all right. We're not really missing Aaron Jones, although Aaron Jones had a great game, right? That's the other thing.
Morgan in for the runs.
Where's Minnesota at, right? Like, seriously. Because I'm pretty sure Aaron Jones is leading running backs in the league for yards per attempt, but where are they as a team, right? They're going to – I'm telling you, I'm not wishing this on 33, but they're going to run him into the ground is what's going to happen. And we know he's getting older. He's banged up. I would be very, very surprised if he makes it through the year if they're going to use him like a bell cow. I think he only had like 14 carries, but the way he runs, man, he runs so hard. And I don't want to say reckless because that sounds negative, but that dude, it's just reckless abandon. When he hits the hole, he's not scared of contact. He's going to throw his body in there. It's going to toll. It's going to add up, man. It really is. So again,
that was one thing we always dealt with him was load management. We were always conscious of that during his Packer years. So we'll see how the Vikings treat him, Yeah.
So quick recap. Again, points per play, Green Bay is 8th. Yards per play, they're 1st. Rushing yards per attempt, they're 1st. Now passing. Move on to the passing game here. This is passing yards per attempt, okay? They come in at the number 14 spot at 7.4 yards per pass attempt. Okay, so you fall out of the top 10 there. Just shows you how important the running game was, rushing yards per attempt there against Philly. We want to bring that up, but here's what's beautiful. The Indianapolis Colts are going to go watch that tape from the Philly game. They're going to, we need to watch Jaden Reed on the jet reverse, on the jet sweep. We're going to have to watch this aspect of the running game, right? That's setting everything up for play action. Well, if Malik Willis does start this week, I'm telling you right now, minimize, dumb down that playbook, and it better be absolutely loaded to the gills with play action rollout and bootleg plays. It's got to be. Use his wheels on the perimeter, get him out on the perimeter, and I'm telling you, if they key in on the running game, which I think that'll be their game plan, they're going to try to make Malik Willis beat us. If they key in on that running game and you're running a lot of boot action off of it, you could put yourself in a position to win a ball game with Malik Willis as a starter. I really believe that. He's not going to win. He's not going to win you the game getting to the third read, on a dagger concept. Where he's going to win you the game is mixing a little RPO. You can't go too RPO heavy with him, but run a lot of running game and play action off of it. Show a lot of jet motion and try to confuse them and get guys out of their run fits that way. But does this surprise you guys? Because to me, it really didn't per attempt, because Jordan Love's accuracy was off. There's no two ways about it. Some people were blaming the surface. I don't know why the reason was, but he was definitely inaccurate. Also, you had a bunch of drops too. Dontavion Wicks had a couple drops. There were several people that had drops in that game. So with that being said, this number really doesn't surprise me. I kind of expected him to be right around the top 10. Might be a little lower than I expected, but again, at 7.4, they're right behind Washington, Jacksonville, Detroit, and Vegas there, who were just outside of the top 10 as well.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fair shake. Everyone else is trying to pass the ball too, so I'm not mad at him, and I think Matt, once the offense starts to hum a little bit more, we'll be able to hit some of those deep balls. Remember Jordan pushed the ball down the field so much at the beginning of the season last year. Maybe he's trying to reel him in just a smidge from that and say, hey, let's ease you into that, and then we can start, hitting those deep balls. Maybe not put it all on tape the first week either.
Yeah. And if you take all these numbers, Tim, all those rankings, and we just talked about it, points per play, you were 8th, right? Then let's see. So let me retally this up. So we were 8th in points per play, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were 1st in yards per play. We were 1st in rushing yards per attempt, and then we were 14th in passing yards per attempt. Right, divide that by 4. If you take all those into consideration, we're the 6th ranked offense in the NFL right now. So it's right around what we expect, right? Let's get that passing game a little amped up. when Jordan comes back. Let's don't try to fix that this week, okay? Let's just press into this run just a touch. And there's some people that still believe there's a chance he plays. Somebody put a tweet up. I can't remember who did it earlier, but they put a tweet up of the quarterbacks that played that missed 0 time with an MCL sprain. And it was wild, man. Like his grade of an MCL sprain, I don't know if there's ever been a quarterback that missed a game over it. That's crazy to think about. I'm not expecting it because they just signed a $220 million contract and they're going to protect that investment. But
all I'm saying is,
would be. Well, go ahead, Emilio.
All I was going to say was he's already got 18, 19, 20 games or something towards Brett Favre's Iron Man. Why are we gonna cut that off now? No. We might as well keep the. He's already got 18. We're not going to cut him off now.
What I was thinking, wouldn't it be the ultimate gamesmanship for Coach LaFleur to talk to the press about how Malik Willis is doing a great job preparing for Sunday all week, and then on Sunday, Jordan Love trots out on the field and is the starter, kind of throw the Colts off balance a little bit, have them prepping for a backup, and then QB1 emerges.
Well,
you never know.
Tim, that's the point right there. What is everyone worried about? Malik Willis can't throw, right? What can the dude do? The dude can run the ball. So that's a change of pace backup, right? If it's not Jordan Love can hum it. He can run when needed. Malik Willis is completely different. Then the defense got to worry about trying to stop a mobile quarterback. Jordan Love plays, it's a wrap, Yep.
It's a good point, man. It's a good point. You never know. That would explain why he was so vocal about Malik Willis as our starter. Malik Willis is our starter.
But, I mean, it's a complete difference. I mean, Jordan Love and Malik Willis are not the same quarterback, so you got to completely either change your defense or game plan against it differently.
Yeah. Yep. Checking in on the poll question, who is your pick to have the best performance in week 2 for the Packers? Leading the way, Josh Jacobs, 51%. Jaden Reed in second place at 28%. Rashawn Gary in third place at 11%. And Xavier McKinney in fourth at 10%. So everybody thinking Josh Jacobs and Jaden Reed got a good opportunity to shine in this game here. So let's move on to defense, shall we? All right, so this is defense points per play. All right, this is points allowed per play. Green Bay 23rd at 0.45. All right.
Me no like that, Jan.
Not that good. Now, again, where did we finish last year? Somewhere around 12th or 13th, right? And again, I know people don't want to hear it, but I'm going to be comparing it to last year all year long because it's important to understand, did we get better or did we get worse? This is one metric. I think it's the most important statistic. I know there's people, they love their DVOA and they love their total yard. We're going to hit on some of the other stuff, but defensive points per play is where it's at. At the end of the game, you don't look up and go, okay, guys, who had the most rushing yards? That's the winner. That's not how the game's played.
Football comes down to time and score.
That's it. You got it. So does that surprise you they were that low? Because to me, that doesn't surprise me. I was the whole time going, this defense has not played well.
No. Yeah, I don't think this is – if anything, I'm surprised they weren't even lower.
Right. And like I said before, I think that it's just a perfect opportunity to only get better. I don't think he ever wants them to drop this low again. But, like Tim said, I think we're kind of happy being 23.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing. When you take everything into consideration, the slip by McKinney that could have batted that ball on the Saquon touchdown. Ifs and buts for candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas, right?
Right.
But there were a lot of plays, the kind of fluky things that happened there too. That's like, okay, the Jair defensive holding, many people don't think that was a penalty. He grabbed him. I can understand the argument. Hey, did he really impact the play? I get that, but the rules are the rules. It's hard for me to argue when the rule says you can't grab him after 5 yards and Jaws out there with a handful of jersey. Now, I know this
guy. The rule also says we can call offensive pass interference too. And
that's a good point.
There was a lot of hand fighting in the middle and top of that route. So, again, this guy here on the screen doesn't understand that sometimes the best call is no call. There's a call. He's making a call right there. He's calling his agent, trying to get another season of Reno 911 working for him.
What an excellent show, too, man. That skit where they got his face blurred out, he gets pulled over for drunk driving. You ever seen that one? She's walking him through the sobriety test. You know what I'm talking about?
I remember that. Yeah.
And he's literally mimicking everything. He said, if you add in the end, you give a couple leg kicks, and he turns around, takes his hat off, and goes, "Yeah." And she goes, that cop goes, "You're pretty good. You dance a lot." "No, I'm just drunk." She went, "Oh, put your hands behind your money." Such a good skit. So anyway, defensive points per play, 23rd is where Green Bay ranks.
And with the Jets last night, what they get, there was like 60, 70 plays that they had against them. So I really am not mad about where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm. Could have been worse. I really believe that. All right, defensive yards per play. That's points per play, 23rd. Yards per play. Green Bay jumps up a couple spots here to number 20 at 5.5 yards per play. They're actually tied for 19th on that metric right there. And again, yards per play, exactly what it sounds like. Take up the total plays on defense, how many total yards, you divide it by that. That's how many yards they average giving up per play. The best defense in the league was Tennessee against Caleb Williams. That's hilarious. Sorry, I just had to pause for dramatic effect. 2.8 yards per play there. Dallas second at 3.3. Seattle tied for second at 3.3. New Orleans 3.5. Minnesota 3.5. Chicago 4.0. So Chicago's defense, they did look legit. I ain't going to lie. But again, back to the Packers, 20th in yards, tied for 19th in yards per play. Does that catch you guys off guard? Does that sound about right? Did you think it'd be better or worse? What?
I think we're pretty much on par there. What do you think, Emilio?
Yeah, with the 2-3 explosives, 30 some yard run, a 70-yard pass, I would say that I'm pretty happy with only 5.5.
Yeah. I think we ended up giving 5 explosives up, if I counted right. So 5 explosive plays total in the game.
20-yard
that's why we lost.
What, 20-yard pass, 15-yard run, or 12-yard run? Or?
20-yard pass, 10-plus yard run, I think is the technical. It's what it's supposed to be. Now, Warren Sharp, who does a phenomenal job with analytics in the NFL community, he just couples them together and says any play over 15 yards he considers an explosive. I can understand that too. I would kind of think of that too. 15-plus yard game, pretty solid. So, again, defensive yards per play, Green Bay in the 20th spot. Rushing defense, yards per attempt given up. This is one of the positive notes here, okay? Against the run, Green Bay finished 10th in the league at 3.8 yards per rush. Pretty damn impressive. To me, that was a significant increase from last year. So what you've seen, it's just week 1. But going into this game, we talked about Philly's running game. Jeff Hafley did a pretty good job shutting it down. He really did.
Yeah, other than the Saquon factor, right? Two tutters, 100 yards on the ground, Saquon doing Saquon things. So all things considered, I think being at number 10 on this list is pretty good. I think it was refreshing because you saw them flash at times, right, Clayton? That run D looked real stout for a while, and kind of giving us a flash of the future, hopefully, where they can do this consistently and be really good against the run.
Yeah, I'm looking at the rushing here on Next Gen. So Saquon ran left 7 times, wide left 7 times for 44 yards. Inside left, he had 3 attempts for 6 yards and a touchdown. Inside right, 12 attempts, 54 yards and a touchdown. And then wide right, 2 attempts, 5 yards. Rashawn was locking that down, let me tell you. Inside right and wide left, looks like we were getting a little gashed there. But us being top 10 in run defense is everything everyone's wanted from this team since
since before you were born there.
Exactly. There we
go. You were knee high to a grasshopper. So again, Green Bay defense, opponent yards per rush attempt, week 1, they are 10th in the league at 3.8. Let's move on to passing defense, yards per pass attempt. Notice that list got a little bit bigger. Green Bay is 25th, 7.8 yards per pass attempt. First place, of course, playing Caleb Williams, Tennessee, right? So Caleb Williams was historically bad. Mm-hmm. And Bears fans are running so many victory laps that they won that game because Will Levis gave it to them. What's crazy is they were talking like, Tennessee's a great team. I'm going, when did Tennessee become an elite team? What are y'all talking about? Listen, they could beat the Packers with a backup. I get it. I understand. But to pretend like all of a sudden the Tennessee Titans defense is the 85 Bears because your number one overall pick stunk to join up. Let's stop telling stories outside of school here. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So Green Bay 25th in passing defense, yards per pass attempt at 7.8. So you've seen that number drop as well from last year's average. Okay. So again, does that catch you guys off guard? Any thoughts, any comments there?
I think this is more par for the course after what we saw. I really do. I think it's pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts pushed it down. That 67-yarder was over 30 yards. I mean, he barely missed inside a 10 to the line of scrimmage. I mean, dude he's a good quarterback. We just hoped that it wasn't going to come to fruition just for week one, just so that we could sneak by and let him go deal with the NFC East and the rest of the league. But, it just didn't work out that way. So, Hafley's got great tape to look at and to work on and show him. And I'm sure that everyone on the plane back was, all right, let me get my cut-ups of, my 10 yards and in covers, my third down covers, all that stuff. Because, they want to get better and find something to, work on too.
Yeah, definitely. And, the other thing, too, if you take away that 67-yarder A.J. Brown had, these numbers change dramatically.
Right? Oh, big time. Yep.
So that's why those explosives are so huge, man. It is. Yeah, I mean, that's.
And it was only the third. So we attempted 4 passes over 20 yards. Jalen attempted 3, only completed 1. Jordan attempted 4, completed 3 of those. So, I mean, we want to push it down there, but man, if we just didn't have that one, and would be happy too because his stat line would look great.
Oh, yeah, he trust me, he's not happy that happened.
Right.
And he also had that 20-yarder he gave up where he missed the tackle on the curl route on like a 3rd and 8. Right.
Yeah,
so you take those 2 plays, that's 87 yards. 87 yards off of that stat line. It's a totally different ballgame. So that's why
that first one was tough too because Ja was playing how he's comfortable. He was playing off. He had time on that route, and it still got rolled.
Playing off, gave up a ton of yak, missed the tackle.
Yep.
Playing up on him, out and up, burnt to a crisp. It's like, bub, we got to do something good here. We got to.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And again, Stokes seemed to hold his own. Now, Stokes wasn't guarding A.J. Brown either. He wasn't covering A.J. Brown. So A.J. Brown's solid. I will say this, though, Javon Bullock tattooing him. Ooh, boy, I love seeing it. Stood over him a little bit like, oh, man, what's wrong down there? You okay? Get up. And listen, Bullard didn't have a great game. Don't get me wrong.
No.
But I think you could tell Bullard belongs in the NFL. It's not going to be too big for him.
It just shows the pop in his game. Like we were just saying, A.J. Brown is a big dude. That's not an easy guy to just lay out like that.
Bring the thump to him, stop him in his tracks type thing.
Yep.
And if you take away the 67-yarder and the 20-yarder, right, those 87 yards there on 2 plays, and you forget they even happened, and then you take the comments of people who are saying, I feel like the defense played pretty good. That's what they're talking about. Like, minus those 2 plays, they did play pretty solid. Like, it's just those are 2 big ones. Big ones.
And my question is just how often are we going to give up those kind of explosives this year, right? Is it going to be a once a game thing? Is it going to be once every other game? Like this game, is it going to be twice a game against good people? So I just wonder what it's going to look like. I'm excited to get another game down, so that we can get a little bit of an average working out and see what this team's going to be moving forward.
Yep. So if you took those 4 key defensive statistics there, okay, same as we did with offense, we did defense points per play, where Green Bay was 23rd, defensive yards per play, Green Bay was 20th, defensive rushing yards per attempt allowed, Green Bay was 10th, and then defensive passing yards per attempt, 25th. You average that out over 4, you come up with the 19th best defense in the league. So right now, what we're showing is offensively 6th, defensively 10th. Now, that doesn't include turnovers. I didn't look at the turnovers on offense, but here are your takeaways per game. Green Bay is tied for the lead in the league. There's 6 teams that had 3 takeaways this week. So that's a plus. You're already seeing that. Okay, if you don't give up those two, I hate to keep coming back to it, but if you don't give up those two explosives, I'm telling you, man, 3 takeaways. You're probably winning that ball game, and that's a whole. You're climbing into the top 10 in defense, probably. You know?
And if you get tutters instead of field goals off of those turnovers, that'll help you too. So
red zone offense.
Yeah, that was the thing that was alarming to me, is we just didn't look as efficient in the red zone as normal. You know, I kept waiting for, you see those red zone plays, you figure 1 or 2 snaps and we're in there, the way LaFleur's been calling it these last couple of years. And I just felt like we were a little out of sorts there.
Yeah. And I mean, we already got a good jump on last year. We were 1.1 per game. So I like the start.
Amen.
Yep, definitely. And again, it's like Drew says here in the chat, the Eagles are also a very good team. Wait until we play bad teams. Amen, Drew. These numbers are going to get better when you play bad teams. There's no doubt about it. As long as you're not playing from behind because we're having to play with a backup quarterback, right? That's where it's important to get that running game established, shut down their run, get a slight early lead, play from ahead, and make them make the mistakes. That's going to be huge. So, but I agree, man. The Eagles are a good team. They're a solid team, no doubt about it. All right, so there is your offensive and defensive rankings. I want to do that every week. I want to make that kind of like maybe even the Monday or probably the Tuesday show, because I think it's important to keep our finger on the pulse there, as we move forward for sure. Let's go to power rankings. We had a couple of different websites, I guess you could say, do power rankings. 33rd team, here is their updated power rankings heading into week 2. And this was, I believe, Marcus Mosher over at the 33rd team that did his power rankings. Okay. So here we go. Number 1, Kansas City Chiefs. Number 2, the San Francisco 49ers. Number 3, the Detroit Lions. Number 4, the Houston Texans. 5, the Baltimore Ravens. 6, the Buffalo Bills. 7, the Philadelphia Eagles. Dallas Cowboys are at number 8. And number 9 is the Green Bay Packers. Again, this is according to the 33rd team. I feel like that's a pretty good, Now, with or without Jordan Love, that needs to be put into context here. I think they're just saying overall, if Jordan was playing, here's the team's power rankings, right? But I think that's pretty fair. How do you guys feel about that one from the 33rd team?
I feel like that's fair for the Packers, I think. I think the Jets are a little high on that list. I think the Bears might be a little bit high on that list too. But, looking at that top 10, that seems pretty 1 through 10 seems pretty accurate to me.
The Saints being at 22 kind of surprised me, because the Saints, who did they play? Do we know who they played Sunday? Because they absolutely boat raced them, didn't they?
I don't remember.
Yeah, didn't they win by like 40 points?
Never ask a question you don't know the answer.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. Anyway, how do you feel about this, Emilio?
Yeah, I mean, we've been begging all off season for top 10. We're still there right now. I think that, we still kind of showed it. But I mean, it's wild how many teams, are still in that same division. We got us in Detroit. You got Cowboys and Eagles. You got Miami and Bills. A lot of teams in the same division are all top 10, rankings, just according to this guy, right? But still, I mean, there's a lot of firepower in certain divisions, and I'm happy that we're up there still, right? We just got to keep showing it.
Yeah, yep. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Drew D, J. Cole, 2-0 for this. Donovan Schilling, everybody said it was the Panthers the Saints played. So, like 2-0 for this says, though the Panthers didn't really play, they just took the field. So, yeah, so we'll see. Again, next week we'll get a little bit better idea of how well they look. Now, y'all ready for the bad power ranking from NFL on Fox? This is ugly. Check this out. They have Green Bay 14th and the Jets 13th. So their power rankings go. Their power rankings go Kansas City 1, San Francisco 2, Lions 3, Texans 4, Eagles 5, Ravens 6, Bills 7, Cowboys 8, Rams 9, Buccaneers 10th, Bengals 11th, Dolphins 12th, Jets 13th, and the Packers 14th, with the Bears right on their heels at number 15.
Notice how nobody put their name on this one.
I was looking for that, Tim. I don't really see. So this one probably just trying to get some interaction. They had Green Bay.
Is this the Chat GPT power ranking?
A robot, dude. It's that robot that always pops up every.
Oh yeah, the Fox.
Yeah, he was the one that picked these things. Big fingers hit the wrong button, man. I can't believe Bengals are up that high.
Bro, how about the Bears winning and dropping 2 spots? Love it.
Well, I mean, that's appropriate. I mean,
The Bears still suck.
So they've got Green Bay dropped more than any other team. They dropped 8 spots. Maybe they are taking into consideration Jordan Love going to be missing time. Just trying to play devil's advocate. Still seems a little low. We'll see. Hey, I hope everybody.
Malik Willis has a 136 passer rating on Sunday.
Could you imagine if he comes out and just balls out? That'd be hilarious.
Oh my gosh, let's go.
Tupac LaFleur on the sideline smoking a lung dart.
Yeah.
Take the headset off.
12 of 15. That's all he needed. We get 45 rushes out of Emmanuel and Josh, and we just marched down. The game's over in like an hour and a half because we just ran the clock out.
You're going to see Tupac LaFleur running some 22 personnel.
Exactly. So if you took the 9 and the 14 there, right, and you averaged them out, and they got Green Bay. Both of these together would have Green Bay right around the 11th spot. Borderline top 10 team. So I think that's about right, man. Top 10, hovering around the top 10 the way it sits right now. We got to prove a lot of stuff, man. Got to prove a lot of stuff. Got to get the defense buttoned up. Again, the offense I'm happy with. Really tickled to death with the run game. Even if you remove the Jaden Reed run, still, as a team, ran the ball really well. Emmanuel Wilson might end up being one of the best number 2 backs in the league, man. Really
Right.
I'm excited to see more of him because he balled out. All right. Let's move along here. We're almost finished. We're at the hour 16 mark. Y'all we got a bunch of people in here. Take a quick second, hit that like button for us. We would greatly appreciate it. Feel free to sub to the channel. We go live daily talking Packers. And I know we get a lot of subs and a lot of people coming through from the opposing teams that week too. We'll be covering your team a lot. I had a lot of Eagles fans in here last week. Absolutely awesome. Good conversation. Nobody was being a-holes. Everybody was getting along. It's cool. So we'll probably have some Colts fans roll through this week too, which I think is really cool. All right. This is really cool. I want to give a shout out to Nerding on NFL. They did this graphic. Hopefully they do it every week. This is kind of what I'm referring to as the week 2 master sheets. So you got the entire schedule with the times in which these teams play. In the middle column, you got the standings currently, right? And then on the far right, you got the statistical leaders, most passing yards, most rushing yards, everything. Pretty cool setup. Is that not clean, guys?
It looks like a call sheet, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely awesome.
This is what Clayton walks around the house with talking to Mandy.
Exactly.
They can steal your calls.
Yeah, right. Covering my mouth. What do you want for dinner, man? No, cover your mouth, man. What do you want for dinner? They're watching. So Thursday night this week, you got Bills at the Dolphins. Then starting with the 1:00 slates on Sunday, you've got Browns at the Jaguars. You got Raiders at the Ravens, Jets at the Titans. That'll be another one to watch right there to see if the Jets are legit and should be considered borderline top 10 team, which I think is just hilarious at this point. And were the Titans really that bad too, right? Or how's their defense going to play? That's going to be the big thing, Emilio. Right now, it seems like the Titans' strength is their defense. So we're going to be down there, obviously, week 3 to watch them play. Chargers at the Panthers. You've got the San Francisco 49ers at the Vikings. Let's see if the Vikings are legit or not. We're going to find out this week, baby. New York Giants at the Washington Commanders. If you guys want a good nap, tune into that one. And then you got the Saints at the Cowboys. We got the Buccaneers at the Lions. Buccaneers look pretty good, if I remember correctly, last Sunday. You've seen them in some of those statistical standings there offensively. And then we got Colts at Lambeau, Seattle at New England, which, by the way, New England winning that first game on the road against Cincy. That was one of the big upsets this week. So, again, our game, obviously, the Colts at the Packers. We're going to be diving into that preview starting tomorrow. We'll have all the updated betting lines. We'll show you the PFF lineup matchups, all that good stuff. Obviously, I think tomorrow, Tim, don't we get our first injury report? Am I thinking right, fellas?
Usually, yeah. Wednesday. Yeah.
So we should see our first injury report. We'll start kind of zeroing in on the game. Now, when you look at the standings, obviously, it's just one game in. The Packers are the only team in the North without a win. Again, they probably faced the toughest opponent this week outside of maybe Detroit. Detroit had a pretty rough game there, a pretty tough matchup. So this is what's really cool. When you look over at the passing leaders, rushing leaders, receiving leaders, look at the most receiving yards in the NFL, guys. Jaden Reed leading the way at 138 yards. He's ahead of Tariq Hill, Pierce with the Colts, Williams with the, I think that's Jameson Williams, right, with the Lions at 121, and then A.J. Brown with the Eagles at 119, thanks to Jair Alexander. So Jaden Reed, 138 yards leading the league in receiving, man. That was not on my bingo card. Most offensive yards per game, Green Bay, 3rd in the league at 414 yards per game offensively. And, that's another statistic that kind of sticks out there. Got to get the defense buttoned up. and just got to figure out a way to win one or two of these next 3 games until Jordan definitely comes back. I think there's a decent chance he comes back for the Titans game. I think he'll definitely be back for the Vikings game, barring any setback. But again, I wouldn't completely – the way Towser was talking earlier today, and he said that I think he said he talked to people in the building. He said, I'm not saying Jordan Love's going to play this week. I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if he plays this week. So
I mean, he's already got 20 games towards the Ironman. So I don't know why we would.
This guy.
Emilio says, march him out there for the first series and sit him the rest of the Ironman stays intact. Anything as far as these games, what sticks out to you guys? Anything you want to hit on there as we get ready to wrap up?
I think it'd be kind of interesting to, after we watch the Packers beat the Colts here, tune into that Denver Pittsburgh game, watch the dumpster fire bowl there with the Russell Wilson bowl, if you will. We all remember how that whole debacle happened. Yeah, and that's you talk about. Obviously Sean Payton's got things working a little differently there in Denver now, which probably a big reason why Russell Wilson's not there anymore. But I think that would be kind of fun to watch on the AFC side.
Yeah. Greg Rice says, I don't know why we would play him if it's a grade 2. I'm not hearing it's a grade 2. I'm hearing it's closer to a grade 1 than a grade 2.
It was a 1. That was what they said, right? A 1/2, somewhere in between the two, maybe a grade 1.5. I don't know.
Yeah, and the way it was described to me was it was closer to a 1 than a 2, but we're kind of splitting ligaments there.
Telling me there's a chance.
Go ahead, Emilio. What were you going to say? But I'm sorry, cutting you off.
No. Obviously, we're Bucks fans. I'm kind of excited to see how Vikings play against San Fran. Jets put up a fight last night, but San Francisco's a good team. We don't want to admit it, but they're pretty decent. So I'm excited to see that and see if Cowboys can keep it rolling. Before you button up, let me just put this question out there and see what the chat thinks. Who was the fastest ball carrier on our team last game?
Fastest ball carrier on our team.
Let that sit for a second. We can circle back before we end.
Let that simmer down now. All right. So there was something I was going to say there. As far as the games this week, right, and what to watch for. That 1 o'clock, we're going to be watching Packers. Obviously, we'll be kind of keeping an eye on like you said, the Niners and the Vikings. When do the Lions play? They're a 1 o'clock window too. So I'll probably have the try box up there on a Sunday ticket. And then when do the Bears play? That's the Sunday night game. Dude.
Under the lights
against Houston at Houston in the Stroud House. Let's go. I'm probably going to have a couple of daddy sodas and some pizza that my fat butt doesn't need. But I'm be rooting. I can't eat during the Packers game, man. I get nauseous. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm doing. So, all right. He said Bates says he's going X. I guess he's talking about Xavier McKinney.
Yeah, I think that they would have looked into that number on his return. Yes, but the highest miles per hour for the fastest ball carrier award goes to Mr. Tucker Kraft at 18.94 miles an hour.
No kidding, 19 miles an hour.
Just shy of 19, man. That good.
Ooh.
You saw a Busch Latte down there at the end of the field. He was chasing it down.
I need that Gatorade. Come on, coach.
That is wild, dude. And listen,
he was cooking.
Thick.
It is, man. Like that's I would hate to get in front of that dude at 19 mile an hour. My goodness, man. So, all right, there's just kind of a week 2 glance. We're going to keep that graphic so we can refer back to it from time to time throughout the week. One other note here. Well, we're way over. We got to go. No Puka for week 5 against the Packers is what it sounds like. Puka Nacua is he's going to the IR. He's going to miss a 4 games minimum. So Packers, obviously, I like Puka Nacua. He's one of my favorite players in the league. You hate to see him get hurt, but that will help the Packers' chances against the Rams because he's a weapon, man, no doubt. And then we're going to hit on the Dak Prescott contract and kind of break it down a little bit. We'll hit on it later in the week maybe. But he signed a new 4-year contract, $240 million extension, includes $231 million guaranteed. So we got our first $60 million per year quarterback, sounds like there.
We got a comment too. Dak said,
yeah, there we go.
I bet he did all the way to the bank. Did you see the video of him at the food truck, though?
No.
After he signed the contract, he's hanging out. I think it was his lady friend, his wife, whatever, fiance. But they were out there hitting up the food truck. I like Dak. I'm sorry. I know people hate the Cowboys, but I really like Dak. I loved his whole approach to the national anthem and everything. And it was, listen, everybody has a right to stand up for what they believe in. I wholeheartedly believe. I think that's why people sacrificed their lives and gave us the freedom to do that. But the fact that Dak stuck his neck out there and was like, I'm standing for the anthem, I thought that was cool. And it was brave. So, I really like Dak.
Definitely.
Until he plays the Packers.
Yeah.
And then it's
he's a good franchise quarterback, the way he carries himself, things like that. So good, good friend, got his money. Same as Jordan, right? Good guy that, you like, you care about. He's part of your team and you got to pay him.
Yeah. 2-0 for this in the chat said the presidential debate tonight is fake. Ed Policy won't be on stage. I love it, dude. I love it. All right, we're out of here, guys. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. One last look at our man here.
Oh, my God.
All right, there you go.
Take his flags away.
Help me out here, Tim.
For those of you listening on the pod,
thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world.
Bon dia.
And go, Pack, go.
Now at T-Mobile, get 4 5G phones on us and 4 lines for $25 a line per month when you switch with eligible trade-ins. All on America's largest 5G network.
Minimum of 4 lines for $25 per line per month with autopay discount using debit or bank account. $5 more per line without autopay, plus taxes and fees and $10 device connection charge. Phones via 24 monthly bill credits for well-qualified customers. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue bill credits or credit stop and balance on a required finance agreement due. Bill credits end if you pay off devices early. See T-Mobile.com.